When orcas appear, the surface seems to erupt. They read their target, use the environment, and control every movement. The target is separated, escape paths are cut off, and pressure builds from all directions. Each approach is a precisely calculated move. What makes this predator a quiet presence of fear in the ocean? Orcas are toothed whales, reaching up to 30 feet in length and weighing around 12,000 pounds, found from polar regions to warmer seas. They hunt in groups, relying on close coordination between individuals. Their ability to communicate, adapt, and work as a team allows them to engage with a wide range of prey. Within marine ecosystems, they are not only predators, but also regulators, helping maintain balance across the entire food chain. In the deep offshore waters, the great white shark has long been considered one of the most formidable predators. An adult can exceed 15 feet in length, with powerful bursts of speed and highly sensitive biological sensing abilities, placing it near the top of the food chain. But even this predator is not beyond the watch of the orca. The water suddenly shifts. An orca appears, circling at a calculated distance, testing the response of its rival. Then it accelerates without warning. A precise impact to the body disrupts the shark's control in an instant. There is no need to prolong the encounter. A concise and decisive strategy brings it to a swift close. What stands out is that the goal is not just to overpower the target, but to optimize energy use. The orca focuses on the liver, the most nutrient-rich part, sometimes leaving the rest behind once the objective is achieved. In the natural world, it is not always the stronger one that holds the advantage, but the one that understands the opponent's weaknesses. On the icy terrain of Antarctica, adult seals, sometimes weighing up to 800 pounds, often rest on floating ice. A thick layer of fat helps retain heat and creates a sense of temporary safety. Orcas understand this well and turn the ice itself into a vulnerability. On a drifting ice floe, 3 seals rest together. A group of orcas swims in parallel, aligning their positions like a coordinated formation, executing a wave-washing strategy, striking the water with powerful tail movements before diving, creating a surge that washes over the surface. The first wave disrupts their position. One seal is swept into the water. Immediately, an orca follows, but the seal manages to break away and climb onto another piece of ice just in time. A single orca continues the chase, but the distance is not enough. It is forced to turn away. The hunt is not over. The orca calls in others, tightening the circle and repeatedly generating waves, gradually reducing the available surface. The ice floe breaks into smaller pieces, and the target loses its footing. At last, a powerful wave sweeps across, and the seal is pulled into the water where the pod of orcas is already waiting. Their coordination and use of the environment turn the icy waters into a field of strategy. Along cold coastlines, damp, sandy shores near the water's edge are where sea lions rest and move. Their thick layer of fat helps retain heat while also allowing them to stay agile both in the water and on land. But this seemingly safe zone is still within the calculations of the orca. Unlike hunts in deep water, this strategy unfolds right at the boundary between two worlds. The orca accelerates from offshore, choosing the precise moment when the target is closest to the water's edge. Every margin of error must be eliminated, because even a slight miscalculation could leave it stranded. A decisive surge forward. The massive body slides onto the sand with the momentum of the wave, closing the distance to the target in an instant. In that moment, speed and timing determine everything. Immediately after, the orca does not hesitate. It curves its body, using the next wave to pivot and return to the sea. The target is pulled away from the shoreline, the result of a high-risk but precise maneuver. The entire sequence unfolds in just a few seconds. It is a skill learned and passed down through generations, requiring experience and precise coordination with the environment. In such a harsh setting, the line between success and failure can sometimes come down to a single wave. In the open ocean, a pod of dolphins can number in the hundreds, moving in a tight formation like a living shield. Each individual holds its position and continuously emits signals to detect potential threats from a distance. Within this balance, numbers and coordination form the most effective defense. But in narrow straits or shallow waters near the coast, when a few individuals break away from the pod to feed, a vulnerability begins to appear. The orca pod recognizes the opportunity and approaches in near total silence. The familiar clicking sounds fade, replaced by coordination through experience and subtle body signals to avoid detection. Orcas surge out of the dark water like shadows, their approach already calculated. The sudden appearance throws the dolphins into confusion as they rush to find an escape, but the orcas quickly block their paths, forcing the target into a confined space. The distance closes in an instant, and a precise strike brings the pursuit to an end. It is a combination of patience, the ability to read their opponent, and the use of even the smallest disruption in formation. During long migration journeys, humpback whales travel with their calves, the most vulnerable link. Even though the mother can weigh up to 80,000 pounds and faces few direct threats, orcas do not choose direct confrontation. Instead, they observe patiently, waiting for the right moment when the calf drifts away from its safe position. The advantage lies not in size, but in the coordination of the pod, enough to place pressure even on giants. When the calf dives out of rhythm, the situation shifts instantly. Dark shapes emerge from multiple directions. The mother turns, sweeping her tail to create distance while calling out, trying to keep the connection. But the orcas take on distinct roles. One group applies pressure, while another works to separate the calf. The objective is not speed, but to break the bond between mother and young. The extended pursuit begins to slow their movement. The mother repeatedly turns back, trying to close in and guide the calf to safety. Space narrows, and escape routes are controlled. In the deep water, the calf gradually loses strength and is pulled away just beyond the mother's reach. The pod gathers around the outcome, a behavior that reflects social coordination after the pursuit. The mother remains there, circling and searching through the empty space. In the ocean, it is not just a rule, but the harsh selection of nature. In polar ecosystems, the blue whale is the largest animal ever to exist on the planet. An adult can reach nearly 100 feet in length and weigh up to 370,000 pounds. That size keeps most predators at a distance. But for orcas, it is not an absolute limit. Prey of this scale is beyond the capability of a single individual. But when the pod works together, orcas become a highly organized hunting system. They communicate, take on specific roles, and move like a coordinated formation across the open ocean. The orca pod forms an arc, gradually closing the distance. They do not rush in directly, but guide the target to move along a calculated path. Each approach is meant to disrupt the rhythm of its swimming and its ability to navigate. They maintain constant pressure, forcing it to dive deeper and limiting its chances to surface for air. The pressure is maintained without pause. The orca pod tightens its formation, leaving the blue whale with little ability to respond. The pursuit comes to an end, providing enough energy to sustain the entire group for many days. In the ocean, no tidal is permanent. Even the largest creature is part of nature's cycle of energy. One life cycle opens the way for countless other forms of life in the deep below. The coastal migration of gray whales is always a demanding journey. An adult can reach about 50 feet in length and weigh up to 80,000 pounds, a living fortress with thick skin and powerful tail strikes. But the narrow nearshore route is exactly where patient predators set their formation. As the two individuals move into deeper water, an orca pod appears. More than 20 individuals coordinate in formation, approaching from multiple directions while maintaining constant pressure. There is no single decisive strike, only a gradual wearing down over time. They split into two groups. One creates disruption, forcing the target to keep turning, while the other holds position, waiting for the moment when its swimming rhythm slows. Gradually, the formation between the two individuals begins to stretch, and their coordination weakens as energy is worn down. The orcas tighten their formation, controlling the direction of movement. Then the massive movement begins to slow. The balance shifts fully in favor of the orca pod. One individual gradually loses rhythm and disappears from view. The remaining one continues to hold on, trying to move toward shallower water, but the prolonged pressure has drained most of its energy. The encounter comes to a close as the ocean returns to stillness. Within the laws of nature, size does not determine everything. Coordination and endurance are what ultimately shape the outcome. In the ocean, orcas do not rely on individual strength, but on strategy and coordinated teamwork. They read their target, use the environment, and take advantage of even the smallest misalignment. Each hunt is the result of experience and precise timing. In nature, this is a level very few species can reach. If you find these stories worth reflecting on, you can like and subscribe to follow more.